drums, drummers, and the drumming industry. Hello, my name's Paul Rodney, better known as The Rog. I'm not an authority, nor do I claim to be. I played the drums most of my life. I've worked in artist relations for 2 drum product manufacturers. I served as a product tester at times and even took a stab at my own drum company. There's a unique bond between drummers unlike any other instrument which surpasses race, sex, age, and religion. It makes us a unique group of people. Drums are my passion. They are my life. Welcome to Rog's Talkin Drumz. My name's Paul Rodney, better known as The Rog, and welcome to the premiere episode of my show, Rog's Talkin Drumz, the video magazine. The show that's all about drums, drumming, and the drumming industry. How did the show come about? It started off with a show called Metalcast. Metalcast is a podcast radio show that's listened to in over 40 countries. It was my intention to start a show all about drums, where I play drum solos and talk specifically with drummers and other people involved in the drumming industry. There was so much of an interest in that show that it led us to this show. Premiere episode of Rog's Talkin Drumz, the video show. On April 17th of 2010 in St. Paul, Minnesota, I had a chance to catch up with Fredrik Andersson of the death metal band Amon Amarth. Accompanying me that day was filmmaker Jason Brox and Metalcast Rockcast co-host Chris Snakeskin Townsend. Before the show started, Chris had a chance to fire up and speak with some of the enthusiastic crowd that was growing, literally lining up around the block hours before the doors opened. It was a sellout show, and the energy of the performance and the audience was amazing. Here's some of what the crowd had to say. Amon Amarth.
You're here for Amon Amarth, I take it.
Amon Amarth, of course.
How many times have you seen Amon Amarth, Mike?
This will be the 3rd time, actually.
What are you guys here to see today?
Amon Amarth.
Amon Amarth.
When did you guys pick up your tickets?
Not yet.
5 minutes ago.
Oh, are you going to get in?
Yes.
What's with the death metal voice all the time? Do you talk like that in school and the teacher calls on you?
Yes.
I love that, man.
I don't have to take my pants off, right?
Absolutely.
Take them off. Shit.
Okay, stop it.
Okay.
I haven't seen Amon Amarth yet, but I hear they're
You
just...
haven't seen Amon Amarth?
No, not yet. So, it's going to be a good time.
Can I say this on radio? You're going to
I first met Fredrik in 2008 after I conducted an interview with him. I have to confess, I didn't know much about him at that point. After a great interview and an even better performance that night, I became an instant fan, buying up much of their back catalog. Death metal isn't my first choice of music to listen to, but Amon Amarth are so good that a style description is irrelevant. They are a death metal band that are often categorized as a Viking metal band. This view is not supported by vocalist Johan Hegg, who feels that people may describe them as this due to their Norse mythology, pre-Christian world subject matter that is featured in much of their lyrics. They formed originally as the band Scum in 1988. After the addition of vocalist Johan Hegg, they changed their name to Amon Amarth in 1992. The name Amon Amarth was derived from an alternate name of Mount Doom, a location in J.R.R. Tolkien's Middle-earth. Since starting Amon Amarth, they have become a powerhouse in the metal community, releasing 9 full-length albums, 7 of them through MetalBlade Records after signing with them in 1998, 1 DVD, and 6 music videos. They have a unique connection with their global audience, unlike any other metal band I've experienced in recent years. What really stood out to me the times I've hung out with them is that they always have fans, but they treat more as friends than fans, and often drink Toe Sweat. They have a powerful live show that has to be experienced rather than just viewed. In this climate of diminished fan support, they are still actively selling out shows all over the world as experienced in the filming of this show. Stoking this band's energy is Fredrik Andersson. His playing really stood out to me. He has thunderous double bass technique but doesn't overuse it. He's in constant motion with powerful drum fills and tactfully executed licks. And most of all, he chooses to serve the song. Although starting off as a guitar player, which I'll try to overlook, he's grown to be one of the most respected drummers in his genre. It was in 1986 at the age of 11 when Fredrik first found his independent musical voice by giving up formal piano lessons to follow what was moving him more. That of rock and metal, the music that he loved to listen to. Not being satisfied with his music voice, he moved on to guitar 2 years later in 1989. It wasn't until 1991 when he started a band titled A Cantor's Quintet that later became his other current side project called Descending that he first sat behind the drums. Fast forward to 1998, he receives a call from guitarist Ollie of Amon Amarth asking him to join the band. With little thought, he said yes. Again, Fredrik's playing totally blew me away and is a drummer who can perform what he records. It's interesting to me how different drummers approach music. As I mentioned earlier, Fredrik serves the song. I started off the interview asking him about this approach. Fredrik, how you doing?
I'm pretty good, thank you.
Well, when we first met, I had just heard your music, Twilight of the Thunder Gods, and was totally blown away. But what really blew me away was your performance that night, instantly making me a fan. What made you stand out to me as a drummer is your approach. It seems like you approach the drums more musically. You serve the song versus just drum. Is that your approach to drumming in general?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I started out actually playing guitar. So with my first band, I was a guitar player, and I wrote most of the songs. Then I switched over to drums because we didn't have a good drummer. Okay. But I was still writing songs as a drummer in that band, and even though I don't write much music with Amon Amarth, I think a little bit like a guitar player, or like and we also write the songs together in the rehearsal room, bit by bit and part by part, so I try to make it fit as nicely as possible to the music.
Well, talking about that, yeah, you're more than just a drummer, and you started out with piano. How did you approach that, from going from guitar?
I used to think it was crap, like it was only jazz drummers and stuff like that bothered with technique, and I actually, it was the same thing with when I play guitars. I didn't want to learn any scales or notes, writing music and stuff like that. Okay. Because I thought it didn't belong in death metal. Death metal is about freely express yourself with music. If I had gone back now, I would probably, it would have been better to try out, start out with a teacher or something like that. It would save a lot of time, I think.
Are you going to be going into lessons going forward, or?
I've been thinking about I took like 3 lessons one summer, like 2 years ago, but I don't really have time. Like when I'm home for maybe a couple of days at a time, and in Sweden it's not that easy to find someone you can just contact. But lately I've been thinking about that. It actually helps you a lot if you know some basic techniques and stuff like that. Yeah.
Because what really impressed me is last time we talked, you had mentioned that you didn't do a lot of independent rehearsal, but as I see your live footage and see you perform, I'm just blown away by not only your technique, but your endurance, your solid double bass work, and when I'm finding out more about Descending, your other project, your blast beats are amazing. So how did you, if you didn't have any formal training, what served as inspiration to develop these techniques?
In the beginning, I didn't have any technique whatsoever. If I did a grind blast beat or something like that, it would just be muscle power and will. That would be the only. So it's just singles with big biceps. Okay. The first tour I did with Amon Amarth was Morbid Angel headlining, and I watched Pete Sandoval play, and I watched his technique, and I actually copied that. He's doing some sort of, I guess it's from the motion, but he's just doing doubles, like molar, but just not 4-stroke, but double
stroke.
Yeah, down, up.
Oh.
That's how he's doing the blast beat. And I kind of copied that and found it very easy to do.
I'm going to goof up the name of your first band. I think it's Harnorris.
Cantor's Quintet, yeah.
Okay, now the thing is, Descending is the reforming of that original band.
Yeah.
How did the original music compare to what you're doing today?
The original music was very traditional Swedish mellow death, like in the veins of At the Gates, Dissection, old Drug Tranquility, old In Flames, stuff like that. The new material has a more modern approach. I think it's more mechanical, more technical, like maybe a little bit more to the American sound than the traditional Scandinavian sound.
Because yeah, I noticed with your blast beats and your double bass work, it was very consistent, very solid. Are you using triggers with any of that, or is it just you've developed that technique?
Well, there's a big misconception about what trigger is. You can use triggers in two ways. You can tense up the kick drum really hard. That's what some drummers do that, and they only tap the kick drum very lightly. And in that sense, then you can sit and just don't even have to barely move your feet. But what the trigger microphones are essentially just a microphone. The only thing they like, if you shout into trigger microphone, you will pick up a signal. It's just a different type of microphone than a regular dynamic microphone. And I mean, my playing is the same. Even when I switch over to using triggers, I still play the same. I don't tap the kick drums. I kick them pretty hard. And the only reason why we use triggers is because when you play this fast, if you use just microphone, it turns into a blur, basically. It gets so difficult to pick out the single hit. Actually, I know a lot of drummers, like Janne from The Crown, if you know them. When we toured with them, he was like, I'm against triggers. It's cheating and I hate it. But they always, like, they didn't get a good sound live, and no one could hear how fast he's actually playing. And then when he switched over to triggers, since you can hear every beat so perfectly, you have to play more accurate. You can't just flop around and it has to be perfect for it to sound. So it's, in that sense, trigger is more showing what you're actually doing. And it's more a help for the audience and for the sound guy to be able to hear what you're actually playing. We use a mix between triggers and microphones. We still have microphones for the sub bass, the wound that you don't get from the trigger. You just get the actual hit.
Hey everybody, I hope you're enjoying the interview with Fredrik so far. Figured this would be a great time to play a music video from his band, Amon Amarth. From their Twilight of the Thunder God CD, I'm playing their song, Guardians of Asgard. up or heel down?
I'm heel up, but I have my feet pretty flat, so I play a lot with the ankles, I guess, something like that motion. But I also doing a sort of twist. It's something that's come naturally. I don't use any specific technique. I don't know if there is a technique. Sometimes when I play, I get the feeling that I'm playing the constant motion. I think there was some drummer talking about it's like you're actually, it just started going by itself basically. So I'm not using much. I'm just pushing down once and it actually just follows basically.
Oh, semi-ghosting.
Not so much ghosting because it's, I don't know, it's hard to describe really. But for me, it's just come natural that I get into this motion, and when you start playing really fast, it kind of happens by itself. At least for me, it does.
Well, a lot of people struggle with a weak left foot, and when I hear you play, you seem very solid. What practice techniques did you do to help develop your left foot, so at least when you're using your triggers, you have an even, consistent striking?
A lot of young drummers, and me myself as well, when you start playing and in the beginning of your career, you always think that there is a magic trick, like there's a magic way to learn something really fast. But unless you're a natural talent or something like that, that's not going to happen. It's everything. All the drummers that I know, they've been working really hard for a very long time to develop these skills. It takes time. I've just been playing double kick drums for nearly 20 years, so it pays off after a while. It was. I mean, I wasn't this fast in the beginning. I'm not that good with playing with the hi-hat foot, for example, because I'm not used to that much. I do it. I count like in some parts. I've just always played with two kick drums, so to me they're pretty much the same. Sometimes for fun, I practice. I play with. I mix from left to right, so play the beat with the left kick drum instead. Also, if I do blasts, I do 1 foot, 8 notes, and then switch over to the left.
Are you using a metronome when you do that?
Yes, always.
On every show, I hope to play for you a trailer from a new drum instructional DVD. This first trailer comes from Marcus de Schlegwerker, who hails out of Sweden. Marcus has worked, toured, recorded with various Swedish and international artists, and as a solo percussionist in all kinds of music, including rock, jazz, symphonic, classical music, and world music. Nowadays, Marcus mostly spends his time working as an independent drummer, percussionist, and teacher. There are no words spoken. This is a complete new, out-of-the-box way to solve a problem, the language barrier. Please keep your eyes open for a new instructional DVD and book later this year. You can contact him at myspace.com/Marcus der Schlegwerker. There he'll let you know how you can get this.
As a new drummer, if you want to learn to play very consistent and accurate, you're going to have to start at the speed where you can play it comfortably without any effort, basically. It's not supposed to be hard. Always when I go in for a show or when I play a song, and if I feel that it's not happening today, then I tell myself it's not supposed to be hard, and I relax, and it comes naturally. You're never supposed to have to really strain yourself or tense the muscles. I mean, that's the way it works for me. Since I'm not schooled, I can't really tell how anyone else is supposed to play. But I mean, I've had I've got hurt. I've had pains and stuff like that from playing, and I know that's not supposed to happen. So I think as long as you play relaxed and don't really strain yourself or stress the muscles too much, you're doing it right. And for someone who's starting playing fast kick drums, you have to start at that speed where it's comfortable and you can keep it consistent for whatever time. You should be able to play it for 10 minutes, half an hour, and then when you master that, you step up a notch. Probably, I mean, it's impossible to say what speed to start at. Some drummers may be at 120, 160, or even 200. It shouldn't hurt, basically.
Okay. Randy Black is the drummer for Primal Fear. His resume includes Biff Naked, Skew Siskin, and Annihilator. Currently residing in Germany, he is a Canadian native who has been drumming for most of his life. I recently released an audio episode of Randy where I go in depth with his career and focus much on his playing techniques. You can listen to this multimedia-rich podcast by going to feedburner.com and searching for Rog's Talking Drums. The show is also available through iTunes. Just go to the store, click on podcast, and search for Rog's Talking Drums. Hit the subscribe button, which is free. You can also download an MP3 version of the show by going to metalcast.com/RTD. Randy's new yet-to-be-released DVD is titled The Black Book. You'll see in the trailer that Randy is a studied and very concise player and an excellent teacher. I've seen Randy play twice now, and his ability to mirror his playing is as amazing as his precise playing ability. This is definitely a must-have DVD. Please visit randyblack.de or his MySpace site at /RandyTBlack to find out when and where you can pick up your copy.
Hi, I'm Randy Black, and I'd like to welcome you to my first drum instructional DVD. So what you'll see through the course of this DVD is me playing songs from my current bands Primal Fear and Dusk Machine, and bands from my past, such as Annihilator and Skew Siskin. I'll also be explaining a number of essential and basic rudiments, as well as certain techniques, fills, grooves, tricks that I've developed over my years of playing. It's still there, but it's a little more tense to get that power and the arm movement. And a way I try to get my students to develop that is just playing the single stroke with this exaggerated move with the arm. This is just me playing what I was explaining earlier about applying different styles to metal music. A really cool rhythm when you separate the hands off the snare drum, move it to the ride cymbal, for example. It's another great name, the single flammed mill. Playing two 22-inch by 18 deep. They're both the same size exactly. To this position, and then forward through the little one, and that's the whole move. After high school, I went to college for 1 year for music, and in that college break, I got into this band called Chaotix.
Well, moving on to ride cymbals now, I recently went to Meinl, their website, and saw your cymbal setup. And I thought what was really interesting is that you are now using a ride cymbal on your left-hand side, at least for your studio work.
Yeah. Well, live as well. Actually.
Okay, because are you using a ride cymbal on your left today?
Yeah.
Now, how long have you been incorporating that into your playing?
I've had it on and off for at least 5-6 years, I think. When we first did our first couple of tours here in the States, and I brought my cymbals over from Europe, bringing 2 ride cymbals that are pretty massive, and then 4 crashes and 3 chinas and a set of hi-hat and possibly a couple of spare cymbals. It's a lot of weight to carry. So I cut down on 1 ride and a couple of crashes just for the weight, basically. You can't fly with more than 32 kilos, which is like 55 lbs, I think, or something like that. Now we get the cymbals straight to the States here, so I can bring a full set and I can play what I usually play at home.
Now, do you feel that that technique, that setup, really helps in helping your playing go faster, like speeding up when you want to do beats?
The ride, double ride, or
double ride. I've noticed a lot of drummers recently seem to be using it, like Randy Black, Flo Minor, Gene Hoglan, and yourself. it seems like it's kind of a newer technique, and I was just wondering where it really kind of derived from.
Well, I think it's for me it's the combination of having a big drum kit with 4 rack toms. If you want to do something like that, it's hard to reach over basically because the ride is all over back here. You're basically playing it behind you a little bit. So to reach that far, it's easier to just go to the left, and it's just a matter of what's comfortable playing. You could do it like someone who's playing the ride, maybe 1 or 2 rack toms, and they have the ride right there. Then it's very close, so it's not that hard. But it just comes more natural when you're having a big setup. It sounds cool if you have them panned all the way out. Like I know our sound guy Paul, he also always pan them out the rides, and you get a very distinct ping.
So do you have are you still using your right ride as your main drive ride? Or?
Yes, yeah, I do. I can play some beats leading left, but at the higher speeds it gets a little bit off, basically. I mean, I'm not Gene, obviously.
All right, now let's talk a little bit about Pearl drums. You've been with Pearl for quite some time. How long have you been with them?
My first drum kit was a Pearl drum kit. It was a Pearl Export, but I haven't been endorsed by them for long, since 2006 or something like that.
Now I understand you're using their Birch series.
On the latest recording, I used the Masters Birch. At home, I have I got a Masterworks. So I have it's a Masterworks with Birch and Mahogany, which I'm going to use for the next studio album.
What's the biggest response that you've found between the two?
I like the sound from Birch a lot, but the maple drums are a little bit more. They respond a little bit better, I find. So probably a mix between the two would be a good idea. But I mean, I at home I have the Birch and Mahogany, which the Mahogany adds a lot of low end to the toms, and it sounds very heavy.
Well, what's the shell construction on the Master series?
It's just a very thick. It's a 8-ply shelf until the 14th rack, and then it's 10, I think, or 6. It's 6 and then 8. Yeah, and then the kick drums is 10, I think.
What snare drum are you using?
I can't really decide which one I like the most. It's Ultracast 5.5. I used to play the 6.5, but now I switched back to 5.5. I get a better response from that one, and sometimes I play a reference 5.5 snare, the wood snare, and also a reference brass, which I really like a lot as well. It's very loud.
Yeah. Have you tried any of the signature snares?
I have, yes. I have tried most of them. Chad Smith, for example, is very nice. The response on that one is it reacts instantly. It doesn't matter what volume you play on, you still get all the snare from the bottom, and it's very easy to tune as well. That's one of my favorite snares.
You try the Vinnie Paul at all?
I did, but I didn't like it very much, actually.
Okay. Well, what about it didn't you like?
I found it to be a little bit dead. I didn't really get the right tone and feeling from it. It's also very deep, so it's a little bit. It's a muscle snare, and it probably fits a hard rock band or something that plays slower songs, more powerful. But for my kind of playing, it didn't work out at all.
Just getting back to a little bit of your technique when we're talking about this. So do you over tweak your heads just so you can get better response from them? So you can use economy of motion?
No, I have them actually. I have all the toms tuned fairly low. I usually go to the lowest tone point and then tune them up a little bit from that.
And for your sticks now, you're using Vic Firth. What model are you using?
I've recently switched over to 5A Extreme, which is a longer version of a regular 5A. I used to play 5Bs for the last 5-6 years, until I realized that my hands are actually too small for the 5Bs.
Okay.
So, I mean, I have small hands. And when I switched over to 5As, it just was a different world.
And those are the Oaks, right?
No, it's maple. I used to play oak, or hickory,
Hickory, okay.
Yeah. But it ended up my wrists. They're just too hard to play. And especially if you don't use the right technique, if you're just using, like, hitting through the drums, it's devastating. And I have big problems with that, actually.
Okay, what kind of heads are you endorsing right now?
None.
You aren't, okay.
No.
Word out to the indie drum head company out there. He's needing an endorsement. Using.
It depends on what mood and what drum you're playing, basically. But I like both Remo and Evans. I haven't played Aquarium that much. They've been kind of hard to get up in Sweden.
Now, getting back to your tour right now, this is the second leg, or maybe third leg, of your Twilight of the Thunder Gods tour. What's the plans for the rest of 2010 with this tour?
Well, this is the last tour we're doing for this album. We're going to do a few festival shows in the summer in Europe. But after that, or actually straight after this tour, we're starting writing a new album. So we're going to jump into the rehearsal room and doing that. We're looking at recording late this year, hopefully, and early 2011 release.
So is there anything I haven't asked that you want people to know about you, your career, Amon Amarth?
No, I don't think that's it.
All right.
That's all there is to know.
Well, thank you very much for this time. I appreciate it.
It's
It was a busy day. Jason the filmmaker had to leave before the show, so I only had a little time to speak with Fredrik and his drum tech since 2007, Holger Haun. To me, the drum tech is the unsung hero of professional drum performance. But before we get into that, I'm playing another song or another video from one of Fredrik's bands called This Ending. The video is called Parasite. This is another representation of what Fredrik's style of playing is all about. I hope you enjoy it. Allergy alert?
Yep, this t-shirt may contain a nut.
I am talking with Holger, the drum tech for Fredrik of Amon Amarth. How you doing tonight?
Oh, really good today. Good mood.
What's really cool about what you're doing as a drum tech is that you're also a drummer. So just let's get into gear quickly about what you like as a drummer. What are you using independently as a drummer?
I sprayed it white, and I had an old 20-inch kick drum that I turned into a floor tom.
Okay.
So now I'm using a 12-inch tom, 16-inch, and 18-inch, 20-inch.
What's your cymbal setup?
I'm not as picky as Fredrik, because he really wants to have specific cymbals. The sound of the cymbals is really important to him. I just take what I can break.
Okay. Well, how long have you been drumming?
I started in '88, so 22 years.
And were you involved in the Swedish metal scene as well?
No, I'm German.
Oh, you're German? Okay.
German.
You don't hold against the Swedes or anything?
No.
You've been a drum tech for a while. How long have you been a drum tech for?
I started in '98, more or less only on festivals. I was working for band management back then.
Okay.
Like for single festivals, they didn't want to pay for somebody to fly in. At that time, they only had English crew and American crew, so they were like, save some money and asked me if I want to do that. In '99, I did my first short tour with a band called Theatre of Tragedy from Norway. And the drummer liked it so much that he wanted me to do the next tour. And then I got some arguments with my boss at the management because the next tour was 6 weeks. So I wasn't in the office for 6 weeks, and then like half a year later I quit at the management company and started working for a backline company in Germany. So then I only did backline for this company and touring. Okay. And then in 2004, from 2004 on, the only thing I did to make money was touring.
So what other bands have you worked specifically with as a drum tech?
I worked for Theatre of Tragedy. I just did another tour with them in Europe. Nevermore, Cannibal Corpse. I did guitar teching for Children of Bottom.
Okay.
Because that's what I do sometimes too, guitar teching if there's no drum tech job available. So I did lots of bands on festivals, like single jobs. Sentenced I worked for, the bigger tours, and then Amon Amarth has been like 3 years now. I've been working for Fredrik, and the last 2 years, this Theatre of Tragedy tour I did in March was the first tour in 2 years that I did with another band in Amon Amarth.
Well, can you just quickly walk me through your typical day of when you come to a venue? How do you coordinate your day of being able to set up the drum set and get the performance, and then at the end of the show, tearing it down?
When we come to the venue, I have a coffee first, if possible, if it's there. If not, I have to make some on the bus or somebody else does. And then we just go in, check the stage, see what it's like, if they have set up a riser, because we don't carry our own on this tour. We had, in Europe, we did a tour last year where we had our own risers, so that was never a problem. See what the clearance is like, what they have available for legs, how high the riser is going to be. But then I just unload the trailer, I put the rack on, and I have everything marked for the rack. Okay. With the rack, that's really easy. You don't have to put that many marks on the rack, because if you had to, like cymbal stands, you would have to mark every cymbal stands. With the rack, you just do the feet of the rack, and it's really easy. That's what I really like about it too. And then I set up the drums. The light guy's usually in the way.
Everyone's in the way, man. That's just what the business is, right?
Yeah, he's always like, it's either him or the lights that are in the way.
How's it to set up the Pearl rack?
How it is to set it up?
Yeah, is it
perfect?
No problems, show to show.
No, I love the Pearl rack. If he ever wants to change the endorsement company, I will have to kill him. Because I want to have Pearl. I like the drums, and the hardware is for me, it's the best hardware. The rack is so easy to set up. I had like a Dixon, which is almost like a Gibraltar rack. Yeah. I had that one for myself, and it's really bad. I don't like that because of the rum pipes. You move something. When we did the Slayer tour in Europe, we had to set up the drums, had to take them off every day and set them up with the rack. Like when I had to set up the rack on the ground where the audience is, and then lift it up for sound check on stage. And with any other rack than the Pearl rack, it would be a disaster.
Yeah, because I really like how everything seems to be squared. You know, like you get that total level lockdown. So when you do your sound check now, do you do a specific pattern on the toms to dial in the tones, or you kind of just do what the sound man wants?
Like when I don't change the drum heads, I just go through the toms, see what they sound like, and if there's anything that I don't like, I just do some adjustments. Okay. And then usually there's still something wrong with the sound on the microphones, because it always sounds different through the mic. And then on each venue it sounds different, depending on what the riser is like. If it's more shaky and more resonant, if there's more resonant from the riser, the whole drum set sounds different. Then I just do the first thing is, like when everything's set up and it's quiet for a change, because usually there's always somebody making noise when I try to tune the drums. I just do the adjustments, see what it sounds like, and then when we start checking the toms on the PA, then I can hear something still from the PA, or the sound guy tells me like this doesn't sound good, and then I can try to change that too. Then in the end, Fredrik comes and says it sounds great, or he doesn't say anything. If it says it sounds great, then I'm happy. If he doesn't say anything, it can be both. It's okay or it sucks. No, usually when it sucks, then he. No, he doesn't tell me, but he starts changing things.
What are your job requirements as a tech? I know you do a lot more than just setting up a kit. You do a lot of coordination, you do a lot of sound checking. Specifically, let's focus on how you're interacting with their endorsements. How are you getting his gear and coordinating that?
He's got the Vic Firth endorsement. He does that all. He takes care of the sticks, but I deal with Pearl and Minor. So like on this tour, we had a broken cymbal. We got a whole new set of cymbals at the beginning of the tour, because when he started being endorsed by Minor, he was still trying to which cymbals match his sound perfectly. So the set we had here in the States was cymbals that he didn't want to use anymore. It was different to what we had in Europe, so we got a new set, but we only had the one set and there was no spares. And then on the show in Seattle, was it the fourth show or something, one cymbal broke, and I contacted Minor and get replacements.
Do you ever go like on site to Minor and are able to go into their like cymbal vaults and do testing with Fredrik? Have you had a chance to do that yet?
He actually does that alone. He checks the cymbals and then he comes up with what he likes. If he likes the cymbals, he likes the cymbals. It's not my job to talk to him about what he likes or not.
So talk about cymbal care. When you're on the road, how are you taking care of these so they hold up?
I can't really do anything to make them last longer, but it's just clean them. I clean them like, I wipe them off every day from fingerprints. And then like every third, fourth day I do the cleaning with cymbal polish. I mean, the set in Europe doesn't look that good anymore as it does here, the new one. So then I just do maybe only 5 and 6 days. He likes them clean, I know that. He doesn't tell me all the time he wants clean cymbals. I know that he wants them, so I do it. But because I'm myself, I don't really care. My cymbals always look like shit.
As I understand, Fredrik currently doesn't have a drum head endorsement. So how are you coordinating getting the drum heads in, and how are you tuning the drums?
The drum heads are ordered from Tour Supply, I think. They were ordered here. I just sent the requirements to the management that they order them. Okay. But yeah, tuning-wise, I just put the cymbals on, see that it sounds good. Sometimes it's like me and the sound guy, we get somewhere with the sound, and then Fredrik says he doesn't like it because the drum heads are too tight. And sometimes he does it himself. Then I try to keep on, based on what he did, I try to keep on tuning the drums like he did on the rest of the tour. Like it was like 2 days ago or something, he said like, it feels like playing bongos, so I want to have them a bit looser. So he loosened them up, and then like now he's really happy. So I do it every day like he wants to have it.
I also noticed that you're using muffling within the kicks as well, like these little muffling pillows. What are those?
They are necessary because he triggers the drum set, he triggers the kick drums. It's first of all, of course, the sound from the microphones. It would be too open for metal if you don't muffle them. And then the other thing is that you would get double triggering if you don't muffle them.
Now, are you doing a blend of triggering as well as miking?
Yeah, this front of house, actually the front of house sound is a mix of microphone and triggers. And all the wedges and the monitor sound is Roland triggers.
Okay.
Which we would like to get a deal with too.
Remember that? He wants to deal with rolling triggers. Okay.
When I started working for him, we used D-Drum, but then since they got bought by, what is it, Dadario, or they bought the company from the original Swedish company. And since then, the quality got really bad. Like the cables come off of the trigger itself every like 10th show or something. I bought those foam triggers that you can put on yourself with some tape.
Well,
There's
like a pin tape?
There's actually they're from they're D-Drums.
Oh, okay.
They're just spare parts. That's probably because they probably never had them because they didn't need them for the old ones. But now they keep breaking. There's like €8 one instead of paying 60 or something in Europe for a D-Drum trigger. You just buy the little trigger itself and the front, the foam with the trigger on, and you just solder the cables together. We tried the Roland and they work much better. They last. They don't. I haven't had any broken Roland trigger yet.
Now, specifically, how did you get the job with Amon Amarth?
It's their management is German. They're like 45 minutes from where I live. He had a drum tech back then, and he couldn't do a short UK tour, like 6 shows, I think it was. And after this, Fredrik asked me if I want to keep on working for him.
So I want to know, from your point of view, I know it's not fair to compare drummers to drummers, but what's your personal opinion on Fredrik's ability to play consistently and regularly? What's your overall opinion of Fredrik as a player? I
really like his focus. He's a really focused drummer. He always wants to improve. That's really cool. And I like his double bass, of course. Great. I mean, for me as a drum tech, it can be kind of stressy when he's trying to improve things by changing the setup. Okay. Because that's what he does too. But I mean, it's much better than having a drummer that just doesn't care. Like, I just had one drummer of a band I mentioned before. He doesn't care about anything. He doesn't care. I mean, I tried to tell him how he's using those tapes on the sticks, like drumstick tape, just because he gets and tape on the fingers because he gets blisters because his technique sucks. He doesn't have any. So I tried to show him. He said, "Yeah, I know, but I don't care." That's horrible. It just drives me nuts when I sit there in the back and he's playing and I just think, like, get off that stool, and I just sit there and play the songs. And with Fredrik, it's not the same. It's not. I couldn't play the songs he played.
Danke, vielen Dank. Dankeschön. Danke so Reese. Thank you very much. You've been amazing. Thank you. Until next time.
The show's all about discovery, which is why I jumped at the chance to have Fredrik on my debut show. A drummer who I feel people need to know more about. It was a pleasure to talk with Fredrik. I hope you learned a lot about him. Whether you knew about him before or not, doesn't matter. Just appreciate what he does. He's an amazing player. It was a complete pleasure to be able to talk with both of them and hopefully introduce to you a little bit about what a drum tech does. It was even a greater pleasure to get to talk with Fredrik more in depth this time. After the show, we hung out till 2 in the morning talking all about drums and the drumming industry and the future of Amon Amarth. There's a lot of exciting things coming around the corner for that band. He also gave me a number of signed sticks that we're going to give away, which is a carryover from our audio show. All you have to do is email me at paul@metalcast.com and in the subject line put Fredrik Andersson's drumstick giveaway. So that's all I got for this episode. Until next time, see ya. concludes the premiere episode of Rog's Talking Drums, the video show. I'd love to hear your feedback. Please email me at paul@metalcast.com. Let me know what you thought about this episode and what you'd like to see on future episodes. Speaking of future episodes, next episode is going to be featuring Ed Clift of Peisty Cymbals. We're going to be demonstrating One more time.